everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another tutorial today. And today, we're going to be making up this tutorial. This is going to be one of the easiest and the details tutorial you guys are going to actually find online. Okay, so I just have my paper right there. It's a short pants, a requested one. So I'll have to take you step by steps on how you can go ahead and do this tutorial. As I promise you guys, I'm coming in with step by step tutorials. So I just have my paper right there. I'm going to move this one and keep it, we'll be using it for the back. So this is my drafting paper. This is called drafting paper, okay? So if you don't know what is being called, it is called drafting paper. All right, so like I said, it's gonna be details, that's what I promised you guys these days, details tutorials. Okay, so I have my paper, my drafting paper right there. Like I said, it's a requested tutorial, it's a short tutorial. I noticed that this part is not really that straight, so let me go ahead. I did not draw that line really straight, so I'm going to redraw it right there. Okay, we have our line drawn up. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start. It's a friendly beginner tutorial, so we are taking time while drafting this pattern. Okay, now it's a short pant. It's a very short pant. So when you want to make a short pant, the measurement you're going to be needing is the waist, the hip depth, the crotch depth line, and the length. Those are just the measurement you'll be needing. All right, so first of all, you have to go ahead and minus your waistband. If you're using a waistband of 2 inch, you go ahead and minus it from that 2 inch. If you're using a waistband of 3 inch, you definitely go ahead and minus it before marking your waist to hip depth. So the waist band I'm going to be using, I already have one. So I'm going to use 1.5 inch. Look at how I've placed up my tape. I am placing it from that 1.5 inch downward. So I'll go ahead now and mark from my waist to the hip depth, which is 8 inch. It's normally between 8 and 9 inch, depending on how tall you are. The next measurement I'm going to be marking right now is going to be my the crotch measurement, the crotch depth measurement. How do you get the crotch depth measurement? You are going to take the round hip, divide it into 4. Whatever you have, you're going to add 1 inch to it. If you want it to be loose, you can add 2 inch to it. I'm making a fitting pan. So my round hip is 38 divided by 4 is going to give me 9.5. If I add 1 inch to it, I'll end up having 10.5. Now I will move now to the length of the short. Like I said, it's a very short one. I'm going to do 13 inch. All right, 13 inch. Now, as you can see, I have my points already marked. This is the hip. I have to go ahead and prostrate it. Okay, that's the hip depth line. This is the crotch depth line. And this is my length of my short. It's quite very short pants. Now that I have those lines, I have here is the waist line. Here is my hip depth line. Here is my crotch depth line. Here is the length of my pants. All right, now that I am done marking that up, the next thing I'm going to do is to take the round hip again, divide it into 4. My round hip is 38 divided into 4. I'll end up having 9.5. But I'm going to go ahead from that 9.5. I will add, you can add your 1 inch to it, okay? You can decide not to add 1 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that 9.5 inch right there. I will take my tape just like this and also mark that 9.5 inch right here. Next thing I will do is to go ahead now and connect it up like this, like you can see me doing right here. After that, what we are going to do right now is we are going to look for the crotch extension. All right, how do you get your crotch extension? Is by taking round hip divided into 4, then whatever answer you get, you still divide it again into 4, or you take the round hip, divide it into 20. All right, so my round hip is 38 divided into 4 is going to give me 9.5. I will fold my tape like this into 2. We have divided into 2. Automatically, we have divided that 9.5 into 2. Then I'm going to go ahead again and fold again my tape like this into 2. Automatically, we have divided it into 4. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead now and mark, place it up right there, right here, and I'm going to mark it up here. Now we want to come here. We don't want to make it too deep. So what you're going to do is to come here. You can go up by 1.02, 1.5, okay? From this line, this point right there, you go out like this by 1.5, okay? Like this, 1.5 right here. Now that I have gone up like this 1.5, because I don't want to make it too deep. Now let's come here. You're going to go in by 1/2 inch. You're going to go down by 1/2 inch. Okay, remember I went in by 1/2 inch, went down by 1/2 inch. From this point, you can either go ahead and measure 3 inch here, like this. Mark that point up. Okay, now that I have that, the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead now, bring my curve like this. Remember, I said don't make it too deep. You can connect it up like this. Okay. I'm not making, I don't want to try to make it too deep. Okay. So I'm going to just rule this line like that. Then I'm going to come here and bring it all the way to this point. All right. So this part is looking funny. So I'm just going to go ahead and blend it up like that. Now this is the point, okay? So we're just going to go ahead and retract this on. So we have to reconnect that line over again. Take your time. It's a beginner friendly tutorial. Make sure it's not too deep. You can see practically I went out by 0.2. All right, so now that we are done doing so, the next thing I'm going to do is to come here now. I'm going to mark from this point, put 1/4 of the round waist, which is 28 divided by 4, is going to give me 7 inch. I will add 1 inch for my darts. I will have 8 inch, not 10 inch, sorry. All right, so after that, I'm going to place it up like this and connect it all the way to that 8 inch here, like so. Okay, I'm going to now connect this part up to meet up this point. If you notice the front, we always kind of slant it down, but the back we don't. We instead lift it up, okay, like that. You see what I've just done? Now let's go ahead, measure up whatever I have from this point all the way to here, which is almost 12 inch, but not 12 inch. I'm going to go ahead now and mark the center of that point. Is 11.0, no, it's almost 12 inch, yeah. So I'm going to just place up like this, is it like this, and mark the center. So I'll just go ahead now from this point. I'll wait. I mark the center of it, okay? I place up and mark that center, which is almost close to here. Now I will rule that line up with a straight line like this. Now that I am done doing that line with a straight line, I'm going to come down by 4.5 inch, yeah, or you can go up by 2 inch. I'm going to do half inch both sides. Then I'll connect it up to make that 4.5 inch. I'm going to do it up here. Okay, now that we are done, just bring this line all the way to the length. Now I'm going to, this part here, what I'm going to use is the round lap. So my round lap is 23 divided into 4. 23 divided into 2, I'm going to have 5, and 23 divided into 2, 11.5. Yeah, 11.5 divided into 2 is going to give me 5.075. This is it. 11.5 divided again into 2. We're going to end up having 5.075. Place it up like this. 0.075. You come here. You place it up like that. Right here. And 5.075 right here. Alright. And I'm going to connect these points up like this. I'm going to connect it up like this. You can see I did not add any sewing allowance there. Like this, okay? What is this, Anita? I'm going to connect it up like this all the way to that point. I'm going to bring this up like so. Now, if it happens that you don't want it to be this free, because my lap line, I make it to be a little bit free, okay? If it happens that you don't want it to be this free, okay, what you're simply going to do is to come here like this, minus 3, yeah, my lap measurement, I normally add 1 inch, so I can go ahead minus 0.75, which is almost 1 inch, but not 1 inch. I'll do the same thing. This is if you want it to be a fitting one. So you come like this, connect this point from the hip depth line all the way to that point. Like this, okay? Like I said, it's a friendly beginner tutorial, so there's nothing to rush about it. Take up your time, like this. Okay. Normally, I was supposed to use this allowance for the folding, but I'm not going to use it because I think the paper I cut is almost the same thing. You know that for the back, we always raise it up, so always add your sewing. So I need this allowance to raise up the back. All right, okay, so I'm going to cut this right now. We have the front piece. You cut times 2, all right? I have the front piece, so let me quickly go ahead, cut this up, come back. See the way I'm cutting it. You can make it more free if you want. These are just my measurement, and take note that I have not added any sewing allowance. Yeah. It is when I'm cutting it on my fabric, and then I'll go ahead and add up the sewing allowance. Cuts, make sure you add up the sewing allowance, right? Okay, move this aside. Now we have the front, right? We're going to use the front to cut the back. It's very, very simple and easy. I make sure that I leave an allowance to the side, just pin it up like you can see me doing right there. The length is going to be the same. We're going to be wasting up the let me use this other side so you not see that line that I've run. So I'm just going to make sure that the length, I have about this 2 inch. The length should be the same. Then I make sure I have some allowance here at the side. Let me go ahead and extend it again. Make sure I have at least 2 inch right there at the front. This is a short pant. It's very, very short. Okay, now that I am done doing so, the next thing I'm going to do is to quickly go ahead now, use up this to draft the back. Once you get your front, the back is very, very easy. First of all, what I'm going to go ahead and do here is to extend it up here. The back is always big at the crotch extension. I'm going to extend it up here and mark this point. From that point, I'm going to go down by 0.25 here. All right. So this is our new point. Now that I am done doing so, the next thing I'm going to do, like I said, the line is supposed to be the same. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come here, this point right there, go out by 2 inch. From here, I'm going to go out by 2 inch. Right there, just mark that point and leave it there. Now you're going to come here like this. I'm going to raise it up by 1.5 inch for smaller size. But before I go ahead to do so, I want to measure up whatever I have from this point all the way to the center, which is 3.025. Divide that into 2. 3.025 divided into 2. I'm going to come here and divide it up, and I'm going to mark that point up, which is right there. Now from that point, I'm going to go up by 1.5 inch, or you can measure up whatever you have from this point to this point. Normally it's to be 2 in 2.0725. You can measure it up and transfer it up. This, especially you measure this up, especially with somebody that you have big butt, okay? But for smaller size, I always go up by 1.5 inch. But for you to be sure, go ahead and measure up whatever you have here and you transfer it up there, so that you will not have any funny look when you sew your pant, okay? I will just mark that point. Remember that we measure up whatever we have from this point to the center of the darts and then divide it into 2, okay? To get this point. Now, from that point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead now, connect this up with a straight line all the way to this point. Once I am done, the next thing I will do right now is to measure the waist of this, whatever I have here, which is 8 inch. I'm going to come here like this and place that 8 inch here like this. But before I go ahead and place that 8 inch, what I want to do is to go ahead now, rule this line, the waistline. I want to connect it all the way to this, all the way straight to that point. Then I'm going to place my 8 inch like this, okay? My 8 inch right there. As you can see, I marked that 8 inch. The next thing I'm going to do is to connect it to this point, okay? Connect it to that point. But before I go ahead to connect it, I want to rule a straight line. I'm going to come here and also do another straight line, and I will do the same thing at the length. Like I said, this is a friendly beginner tutorial, so if you are kind of in a rush, please go ahead, kindly save the video or you pause it, then you come back later to wash it. It's a friendly beginner tutorial. I don't want to rush anything about that. This part I'm going to add also 1 inch. So I've just added 1 inch here, 1 inch here, and 1 inch here. You can do a half inch, it's up to you. So I am going to go ahead now, bring this point, connect it up like this. Connect it up like this. You can see, just place up there my curve. If you have a pan curve ruler, use that up. Use that up, connect it up like that. Then I'm going to just come here and bring this point up like this. You can see, right? Can you see what I've just done there? You see, we have an extra allowance right there. Now we're going to have to connect this point up from here to here, and from here all the way to here. How are we going to do so? We're going to simply go ahead now, remove our pin, fold it over like this so it will be easier for us to work on. All right, pin it up like this. Now you're going to connect these points up like this. Okay, so I'm going to take my French curve. This is what I'm going to use to do so. Look at how I'm going to do it. Okay, make sure it should not be too deep. If not, it will end up looking funny. So making sure that it's not too deep, I'll connect it all the way to the point. Then I'm going to bring it up all the way to this point. Can you see that? Can you see what I've just done right there? Now that I'm done doing so, I am going to connect this part. Sorry, I did not even connect it before. I was supposed to connect that up. Connect it up like this to meet up that 8 inch that we mark here. This is it. I'm going to go ahead and place it back. Now from this part, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark 1.5 inch. Then here I'll also do 1.5 inch. We will go ahead now to connect it up like so. Remember, I don't only want you to come here and watch this video, then you go ahead without having to know how to do the tutorial. I want you to be able to watch the video, make your own video, sew your own pants. That's my purpose of teaching you. So we have this up. If you check, we have this up, right? Now we have the back, okay? So I'm just definitely going to connect this point up like this to meet up this line. Remember that we didn't went down here, so the line is not simply going to be the same. Now that I am done with the back, I'm going to go ahead and remove my pin, connect up my lines, and also go ahead now to connect my darts allowance. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is to go ahead now. We'll measure up whatever we have. We already know what we have there. I'm going to go ahead now and just mark that 3.025, which is right there, and rule a line. But you're not going to rule this line straight. And if you notice that this pattern is not that straight like of the front, so what you want to do, whatever you measure from here to here, you also go ahead and measure it from here to here. So this is what I have. And if you take the points I've just marked right now, they are not straight. It's not supposed to be straight like the front. So I'm just going to connect that point, that line all the way. Can you see that it's not straight line? So now I'm going to go ahead. Remember the dark depth we went for the front was 4.5 inch. For the back, I'm going to do 5 inch. Then I'm going to do a half inch both sides and half inch here. Then I will connect it up to meet up the 5 inch we went down. I'm also going to do the same thing right there. Okay, we have the back here. You cut times 2. All right, so let me go ahead and cut it off. The later on we'll cut the waistband of it, and we'll be done with this tutorial. see the way I'm taking my time cutting it so that beginners will understand. I don't only want you to come here, watch, and not to make your own video. I want you to be able to create your own pattern. Alright, so we have this up. The length of the pant should be the same. You can check. The length is the same. The side, especially the side, be the same, yeah? So we have, if you put it up like this side here should be the same. The most important, the length should be the same because we lift up this. Now let's go ahead and cut the band, the waistband of it. Our waistband was 1.5 inch. Remember, we minus that, and also you're going to be adding up your 1/2 inch that you used to join it up to the waist, even though I did not add up my allowance, so making it 2 inch. Then I'll now take the round waist. Let me see what I have there, if it is my round waist. So it's not up to my round waist divided by 2, so I'm going to be cutting 1/4 of this. So my round waist is 1/4 of my round waist is 28 divided by 4 is going to give me 7. I'll add 1 inch. So when I'm cutting this piece, I'll know that I will have to cut it into fold. So I have this up like that. Then this is the band, the waist band. Okay, now I will cut here all the way to this. This is 1/4 of my waistband. Normally when you're cutting your waistband, you're supposed to cut this into 2, but since this was not enough for me to cut into 2, 1/4 of my waistband. Since this was not enough, I cut 1/4 of it. Okay, so when you're cutting, you have to cut round waist, the full round waist. Okay, so can you see here it's matching up? Okay, now we'll place it up like this, and we are practically done with this pattern. I hope you find it helpful, and I hope you were able to learn and make your own pattern. Hope to see you some other time, and thank you so much for watching, and see you in my next tutorial. Do not forget to always follow me for more tutorial coming up. Thank you so much. Hope to see you back very soon. Bye bye.